We live in a world that celebrates being busy. You ask someone how they're doing, and they say, "Man, I'm just so busy." They almost wear it like a badge of honor. But here's the truth. Being busy doesn't mean you're being productive. It just means you're occupied. And being occupied is not the same thing as being effective. The real difference between people who chase success and those who achieve it is one thing: intentionality. Most people wake up and let the day happen to them. They roll out of bed, check their phones, and before they even realize it, their minds are already hijacked by messages, notifications, and problems that aren't even theirs. They react all day long. They're constantly responding to emails, to people, to distractions, and by the time the day ends, they're exhausted. But if you ask them what they actually accomplished, they'd struggle to name anything meaningful. That's the trap of busyness. It feels productive, it feels like motion, but motion isn't progress. You can run on a treadmill all day, you'll sweat, you'll get tired, but you won't move an inch closer to your destination. Intentional living, on the other hand, is when you get off that treadmill and start walking in a direction that leads somewhere. When you're intentional with your time, every hour has a purpose. You stop doing things just to fill space. You start asking questions like, why am I doing this? Does this move me closer to my goals or just make me feel busy? Because your time is not renewable. You can earn back money, energy, or even opportunities, but not time. Once it's gone forever. Here's a truth that most people learn too late. If you don't design your time, someone else will. The world is full of people who are happy to schedule your day for you: your boss, your phone, social media, even your friends. If you're not careful, you'll spend your whole life running other people's errands and calling it a career. Being intentional doesn't mean you have to plan every minute of your day or live like a robot. It means being aware. It means pausing long enough to ask yourself what truly matters right now. Sometimes that means working hard on your dream. Sometimes that means taking a break to be with people you love. The point is you decide. So, if you want to spend your time wisely, stop measuring your day by how much you did. Start measuring it by how much of it actually mattered. When you look back at your week, don't count how many boxes you checked. Ask yourself, did I move closer to the life I actually want? That's intentionality. That's how you turn time into progress. You don't need to do more. You need to do what matters, because success isn't about filling your schedule, it's about fulfilling your purpose. And the moment you start living that way, you stop being busy, and you start being unstoppable. One of the hardest lessons you'll ever learn about success is that it's not built by what you say yes to, it's built by what you're willing to say no to. Most people think opportunity is about addition, more projects, more people, more chances. But real success often comes from subtraction, removing the noise, the distractions, the obligations that drain your time and your focus. Because every time you say yes to something that doesn't truly matter, you're saying no to something that does. Saying no isn't rude, it's responsible. It's not about being selfish, it's about being selective. You have limited time, limited energy, and limited attention. And those are the most valuable currencies you have. Spend them carelessly, and your dreams will bankrupt you. Spend them wisely, and they'll build a future that feels intentional, not accidental. Most people struggle with saying no because they don't want to disappoint others. They want to be liked, accepted, helpful. But here's the truth: trying to please everyone is the fastest way to lose yourself. You can't be everywhere, do everything, or please everyone. You're not meant to. And if you try, you'll spread yourself so thin that you'll have nothing left for the things that actually define you. Think about it like this: your yes has value. Every time you give one away, you're giving away a piece of your time and energy that you can't get back. So before you agree to something, pause and ask yourself, does this align with my goals, my values, and my priorities? If the answer is no, then you already know what to say. Successful people aren't the ones who do everything. They're the ones who know what not to do. They protect their time like it's gold because they understand it is. They say no to distractions so they can say yes to growth. They decline invitations that don't align with their purpose, and they're not afraid to walk away from things that don't move them forward. It's not arrogance, it's focus. Here's what happens when you start saying no. You gain clarity. You start to see what really matters. You realize that time spent on things that don't serve your vision is just borrowed from your future. And the moment you take back control of your calendar, you take back control of your life. Learning to say no is like building a muscle, uncomfortable at first, but powerful once it grows. You might lose a few people who don't understand your boundaries. That's okay. The right ones will respect them. You might feel guilty at first. That's normal. But guilt fades, and peace takes its place. At the end of the day, success isn't about how many things you did, it's about how many things you didn't do that kept you on track. So don't just guard your time, honor it, because your no is not rejection, it's direction. It's how you make sure your time serves your purpose, not everyone else's plans. Time is a currency. Every second you spend is a choice, a transaction between what matters and what doesn't. The problem is, most people spend their time like loose chain, on distractions, entertainment, and comfort. They think they're relaxing, but what they're really doing is investing in nothing. If you want to succeed, you have to learn to treat your time like money and invest it where it grows. Because every minute you spend on growth compounds, and every minute you waste on distraction disappears. Distraction is sneaky. It doesn't always look like laziness. Sometimes it looks like productivity. You'll catch yourself doing things that feel important, but don't move you an inch closer to your goals. You'll tidy your desk, check your messages, scroll through inspirational posts, tell yourself you're researching or planning, but in reality, you're avoiding the hard work that actually matters. Growth isn't comfortable, it's challenging. It stretches you, frustrates you, and sometimes even scares you. But that's exactly what makes it valuable. When you choose growth over distraction, you're choosing long-term satisfaction over short-term relief. It's easy to say, I'll start tomorrow. It's tempting to give your attention to what feels good instead of what does good. But time doesn't wait for your comfort. Every day you delay your growth, you're giving your future away one piece at a time. Success doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently. That's why the most successful people aren't necessarily the smartest or the luckiest. They're the ones who decided that growth wasn't optional. Investing your time in growth doesn't mean working nonstop. It means being deliberate about where your energy goes. It's reading when you could be scrolling. It's practicing a skill instead of just watching someone else do it. It's listening to something that challenges your thinking instead of numbs your mind. Growth happens when you choose the harder option that makes you better. Because the truth is, the easy choice costs you the most in the long run. You don't have to make massive leaps every day. Small, consistent investments in your growth build momentum. 10 minutes of reading a day becomes hundreds of hours of knowledge over a year. A few focused hours a week learning something new can open doors you never imagined. Every moment you choose growth, you're building a version of yourself that your future will thank you for. And here's the part most people miss. The more you invest in your growth, the less distracted you become. When you have direction, distractions lose their appeal. You stop chasing every shiny thing that comes your way because you're too focused on building something that matters. Your time becomes sacred, your energy becomes precise, and your confidence starts to grow, not from what you've achieved yet, but from who you're becoming in the process. So, don't waste your time on things that fade when the screen turns off. Spend it on things that last when the noise quiets down. Growth pays you back in ways distraction never can. It gives you wisdom, resilience, and clarity, the kind of wealth that no one can take from you. Because at the end of the day, success doesn't come from how much time you had, it comes from how wisely you invested it. Most people wake up and let their day take them wherever it wants. They check their phones, scroll through messages, react to notifications, and before they even brush their teeth, their focus has already been stolen. The truth is, If you don't plan your day will plan itself, and it will not plan it in your favor. Success isn't built in a single grand moment. It's built in small, quiet, deliberate days. Every morning you wake up, you're handed 24 hours a blank canvas. The question is, what are you painting on it? When you plan your days like they matter, you stop drifting. You start steering. You move from reacting to creating. A plan doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be intentional. It's not about writing down every minute of your day. It's about deciding what deserves your energy and what doesn't. Because your attention is the gatekeeper of your success, and if you don't guard it, distractions will walk right in and waste it. The power of planning is that it forces you to slow down long enough to think, and thinking is what separates the successful from the scattered. Most people don't stop to think. They just do. They wake up, rush out the door, answer calls, attend meetings, respond to problems, and end the day wondering why they feel empty. They confuse activity with achievement. But success doesn't come from how much you did today, it comes from whether what you did today actually mattered. Planning gives your day purpose. It helps you align your actions with your goals instead of just reacting to what life throws at you. It's a way of saying, I'm not just going to exist today, I'm going to build something, even if that something is as small as reading 10 pages of a book, working on a project, or spending time with someone who matters. Those choices compound. They add up over time. That's how momentum is built, one planned day at a time. And yes, life will interrupt your plans. Things will go wrong. People will cancel. Unexpected problems will show up. But here's the beauty of having a plan. You still have direction. A ship with a compass can handle storms better than one just floating with the waves. Plan isn't there to control everything. It's there to keep you anchored when things get chaotic. The truth is, no one accidentally becomes successful. No one stumbles their way into discipline or achievement. The people you admire, the ones who seem to always have it together, they plan, not because they're obsessed with structure, but because they understand that consistency creates freedom. When you plan your day, you stop being a victim of time. You become its master. So before you go to bed tonight or before you start your next day, take a few minutes to ask yourself, what do I want this day to mean? Write it down, keep it simple, stick to it. Because days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and months into years. And that's how a life is built, one planned day at a time. The future isn't created in the distance. It's created in the details of what you choose to do today. We live in a culture that glorifies hustle. People brag about how little they sleep, how many hours they grind, how much they sacrifice. They wear exhaustion like a trophy, as if burnout is proof of ambition. But the truth is, running yourself into the ground isn't strength, it's self-sabotage. Rest isn't weakness, it's wisdom, because the mind, like any muscle, performs best when it has time to recover. You can't think clearly when you're tired. You can't create when you're drained, and you can't pour into your goals when your own cup is empty. The most successful people aren't the ones who never stop. They're the ones who know when to stop. They understand that rest isn't a reward you earn. It's a strategy you use. It's how you recharge, refocus, and return sharper than before. You can't sprint through life expecting marathon results. Even machines overheat when they run non-stop. So what makes us think our minds and bodies can do any better? Resting doesn't mean you're lazy. It means you're smart enough to know your limits. It's choosing to pause so you can continue with purpose. The key is to rest with intention, not escape. Scrolling through your phone for hours or binging shows mindlessly isn't rest, it's avoidance. True rest is about renewal. It's about stepping away from the noise so you can hear yourself think again. It's reading something that fills your mind, spending time with people who refuel your spirit, or simply sitting in silence and letting your thoughts breathe. When you start treating rest as part of your plan instead of a break from it, everything changes. Your focus sharpens. Your creativity expands. Your patience grows. You stop making emotional decisions because you're not constantly running on empty. You start to realize that clarity doesn't come from chaos. It comes from calm. That's why so many of your best ideas come when you're not forcing them. When you're showering, walking, or just sitting quietly. Your brain needs stillness to connect dots that busyness keeps apart. There's this quiet confidence that comes from balance. It's the kind of strength that doesn't shout but shows up steady and consistent. You don't have to prove your drive by your exhaustion. You prove it by your results. And results don't come from burning out. They come from showing up day after day, focused, clear, and strong. Rest makes that possible. So the next time you feel guilty for slowing down, remind yourself that rest isn't the opposite of work, it's part of it. It's how you protect your passion from becoming resentment. It's how you keep your energy aligned with your purpose. Because success doesn't just belong to the ones who grind the hardest. It belongs to the ones who know how to last. Take the break. Close the laptop. Go outside. Breathe. Not because you're giving up, but because you're gearing up. The goal isn't to burn brighter for a moment, it's to shine longer. Rest is how you stay sharp enough to keep winning, not just today, but for the rest of your life.